All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren with Aspire Rugby. I am jumping on another Aspire Rugby hang. As a reminder, I am running coaching on skill development, nutrition, and professional pathways. But my favorite thing I get to do with Aspire Rugby is hang out with people I know and love that are doing big things in our sport. So I'm pumped to be catching up with Jess Dombrowski today. And there's so much I can say about how we know each other and also your rugby background, but one of the reasons that I was excited to have you jump on is that one, you're one of the most popular athletes I've ever known. So there's that.
No, I doubt that.
Two, you have such a dynamic background being a professional in our sport, working in rugby, but also being a high level athlete in our sport. And so I wanted to pick your brain about that. So let me hand it over to you. Share a little bit about your rugby background, if you will, and we will dig in.
Get going. All right, here we go. Hi, guys. Like I said, I'm Jess Dombrowski, and I've been playing rugby since like 2012. I accidentally discovered rugby at Illinois State University, where Charlie Jacoby, she's currently at the World Cup with the Eagles. She basically bullied me into coming out for a training, and I couldn't say no. And I fell head over heels for it. And it has sort of, for better or worse, consumed my life for the last decade and such. I worked for USA Rugby for 6 years. I worked my way from an intern into membership and helped with some fundraising, customer service. You probably emailed me at one point, and I'm the voiceover in a lot of those tutorials that I think a lot of us still use when we need to register. And since then, I moved back to Chicago. I was director of operations with the Hounds in MLR.
Yeah, you
Ran
were.
ran a lot of the game, like all of the home game days. We did a lot of finals, special events, community events, tournament stuff, and I still play. We just finished up a 7 season with Chicago North Shore. I had my first season with the Tempest, so I like to tick a lot of boxes and have done something in most categories. So you name it, I've at least attempted it in the rugby world. So
I'm gonna go back and highlight a few things that I think are so special about you. So one, you said you worked at USA Rugby, but like you helped run that ship in a time when the ship was in some rocky waters. So
I think you're referring to
everyone
bankruptcy, Rocky Waters. Yes,
was so
bankruptcy and COVID. I think putting
like
it mildly.
you were helping, you were like running. And so I just want to give credit to you for like what a big feat it is to be part of an organization and have your hands in so many things.
Yeah.
So you have pushed our sport forward immensely in so many different areas. But I just want to like one highlight that. Two, you said you played with the Tempest. You were one of the very first contracted athletes for
Yeah.
the WER league's first year ever. You were one of the contracted athletes. Like that is a very special distinction. You played professionally in the US in the first year ever.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, if you had asked freshman year me who like had never had a beer before, never looked at a rugby ball, never done any of these things, and told her that at the ripe old age of 31, you'd be like signing your name away on the dotted line and you could tell your family you're a professional athlete of some degree. It was really, really cool to be a part of. And I think it's really cool to see that we've gotten to this point, and I'm really excited for this being a jumping off point for everything else, especially with World Cups coming down the lane and, gathering more interest in the US. And it's just a really exciting landscape to be a part of, albeit of a new entertaining one at that.
Speaking of entertaining, what's behind that eye patch there,
Yeah, I
buddy?
was gonna say, I'm so happy you brought this up, Lauren. This is my newest fashion accessory. I've just been like trying out different things to really get more attention for myself. But like most rugby people know, sometimes you just don't make it off the field in one piece. Long story short, took a stiff arm to the face. I'm working off a bit of nerve damage right now, so this really helps me from walking around with the drunk goggles that induce a lot of headaches. So I don't always have the eye patch, but I am considering making it permanent just because it's been really great for me so far. So
Like we want to see underneath
you want
it,
to see? All
buddy.
right, well, here you
Yeah.
go. So it just looks like I'm winking at you. So just
Yeah,
like,
that's
let
nice.
that boost your ego a little bit. But I got a couple of stitches in there and, it's just a little shaky right now, but just a little wink for you.
Love it, Jess. And you said
Nothing
that
nasty and exciting.
you said you had a really great pickup line that you've been trying to like dribble into some of the
Oh
conversations
yeah.
that you've been having lately? Tell me
I
more.
think I've been averaging 15 times a day, like, hey, I've got my eye on you. And
Mhm.
so far, no traction, but like
We don't
DMs,
know that.
emails, all of that is open. Like, that's what I'm here for. We're just putting ourselves out there, and everyone wants to talk to the girl with the patch, right? So
I
here we
do.
are.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, okay. So many ways we could go with
Oh, yeah, hit me with it.
this.
Give me the hard stuff.
Oh no, I mean, I think like one thing I would love to know just in having been part of this new women's professional league, like what is a takeaway for you having been part of that experience? Like what's something you took away from that experience that you can share with other athletes, especially those who
Yeah,
are interested in trying to be part of the league?
100%. I mean, first and foremost, just fill out the declaration form and put your name out there, right? I did it on a whim, just kind of like if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And it worked out for me. And you never know where you'll stand. And that's kind of falls onto the coaches and what kind of team they're trying to build. It was a roller coaster of a year. I think anyone that followed the league that maybe watched some of our Chicago games knew that we didn't have the most successful season on paper. Unfortunately, we didn't pull out a win this year, but we went through a lot of growing pains together. We had some coaching changes, we had some landscape changes. Like we kind of went through the ringer, and I think that was a really exciting growth opportunity for us, and it allowed me the chance to really see like what's important to me. Like I've been playing for forever, but what does that mean, and like why do I do it? My dog's just popped in to say hello as well.
Yes.
He's all about this, very supportive. But I think the biggest takeaway for me is kind of like things will always get better, and like just when you think something is like the most important end all be all in the world, like that's not the case, right? Like losing a game is not losing the World Cup. No one's going to die, and the people that you're on and off the field with going through these like high times and hard times, they're the ones that are really going to like bring you up and bring you through it. And I think that was the biggest takeaway that I had, is like looking back at the team mentality. It's the first time I stepped into a landscape that was entirely new individuals and not a pre-established group. When you go on tours, when you play for all-star teams, it's a bunch of individuals coming together for a one-off. This was a whole season of that. And yeah, my biggest takeaway was just kind of like, you guys are in the trenches together and you just got to grit it out and do things. And I think that was really exciting. It's like I haven't experienced that in quite a few years. So it was a
Mm,
new challenge and experience for me.
yes. What is your primary position for those who are
Oh,
wondering?
listen.
Oh, where do we begin?
I personally identify as a utility player. I'm obviously too small to be a center. If you don't know me, I'm like 5'2", 130 pounds, whatever. But I like to think I can pack a punch. I'm a little feisty. But I played 9 this whole season, which is
Cool.
the first time I've played 9 consistently in a couple of years. And it was really exciting to get back into that, because I was like, I feel old. I don't think I still got it. And, things worked out well, and I improved on a couple of my skill sets. So it's nice to know I was still improving in certain things too. But it was an exciting part to be like right in the middle of everything that's happening.
I remember years ago when we first became friends, we did a sprinting session, like the only one we ever did, and you just crushed. And I was like, okay, Jess,
Yeah.
okay.
I know back in my Colorado playing days, I was more in the back three playing wing for WPL and 15, and I was much better at scoring tries and putting things on the board. Whereas now I'm kind of like, I'm okay with having the cool assist or the little dummy and putting someone else to space. It saves on gas and energy for sure.
Okay, so played scrum half primarily. What was it like? So I kind of talked about this at the beginning of this interview, is like you were balancing being a professional athlete with
Mhm.
being a professional working in the rugby space. What is it like to be able to try to balance both?
Yeah. It's really interesting because anyone that's like held a club position or been involved with leagues or teams and all of that, like how much work it takes. But for most of people, you're doing that for free. You're doing that as a volunteer on your own time. So it's kind of what you can do when you can do it, and there's not always like accountability. In the professional world, there is accountability. You're getting paid for these things. You have KPIs you have to hit, and like you have the goals that you're setting for yourself. Whereas the club side, you're kind of just like, we're just trying to keep going, right? Like we're trying to move in the right direction, but it's very hard to. So it was an interesting one for me just to kind of compartmentalize things. I'd be sitting in my office sometimes thinking about what was happening at training later that day, or I'd be at training thinking about, oh shoot, I forgot to send this email. because there's little things that, spark one side that work on the other, right? Everything on a rugby team at WER or MLR, like the team is that front facing product, but there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. So sometimes it was hard because I'd be at training as a player thinking about how things could be done or organized or orchestrated, merchandise, marketing, whatever for that side, even though like that's not my role. And
Mm.
then sometimes, being with MLR, I'd be watching drills thinking, ooh, if you just change this one little thing, like you could have this. So it was interesting because it kind of kept all of those little muscles sharp and like kept my thought process moving. But it was also kind of like if you're a player, you're on the field, like the ball and the plays and the team, like that's your priority. And when you're behind the computer, like building something, like that's your priority. So there was a little bit of overlap, but it was exciting to get to actually see how those worlds kind of combined, but like in completely different environments.
Yeah, and that can't be easy. What do you think is one of your strengths as a person that allows you to do both? Because I don't think that's something a lot of people could do.
Yeah, I think for me, I always joke in any environment that I'm kind of the personality hire of the group, or I'm like there to like keep things light. And I think that that brings a lot of ease to the table. One of the biggest pieces of feedback I get as a player is you're calm, you're collected, and I know I can like ask you or come to you for anything. And I think it's the same thing in a professional environment. Like, yeah, you're doing computers and business and money and numbers and spreadsheets, but you are a team at the end of the day. So I think what I can bring to the table is I am that personable person that anyone can come to with questions, thoughts, concerns, or excitements. But I'm also the type of person that I'm able to kind of see what's going on. I'm able to see things from different perspectives. The business side, I can look at it from a player, from a coach, from an administrator. On the playing side, like I can see what I as a player want. And then, I'm 10 years older than some of my teammates and I remember what it was like at that time. So putting myself in someone else's shoes to try and come up with whatever those best possible solutions are. So kind of twofold. I'd say personality and perspective are for sure. Yeah, dynamic duo right there.
Yes, I love it. So thinking about, okay, what the things that are coming down the pipe, both with the league, with you personally, what is something that you're really looking forward to, either professionally or athletically in the
Yeah.
next year? Like, tell me something you're really looking forward to.
Yeah, so I think anyone that pays attention to the rugby landscape knows that it's constantly changing. And MLR is going through some growing pains. Unfortunately, with that, I lost my job a month ago. So I'm trying to figure out what that next challenge is for me or like that next excitement. And that is what it is. It's an exciting opportunity to like be a part of rugby or be a part of something else, whatever that is. So I think that's one thing I'm really excited about because I know like the opportunities are endless. And with those growing pains, growing pains happen for a reason because you're growing into something and you're going away from something. And it's no surprise we're hosting the World Cup in a couple of years. Like LA is hosting the Olympics. Like we've got some really the ultimate like sports marker events coming up. And I want to be a part of it, whether that's like helping players that are wanting to be in those events or whether that's like as a professional, like I'm helping put on those events or just sharing my perspective on things and how they've changed, whether that's from my time in Colorado or my time in Chicago. And I just think it's an uncertain landscape, but that's almost what makes it a little bit more enticing because like it shows who really wants to grit it out and be a part of it and care about it. And rugby's changed my life and I really want it to continue to do that for people. So I don't want to give up on the sport just yet, even though my bank account or my life savings or my sanity levels might be tried at sometimes
Always
because of
tried.
it, right? But you know what, like that's why we call it a passion project because it is our passion and that's I think the exciting thing for me. So to answer your question, everything is the simple answer, but I think more specifically going into the second season of women's elite rugby and kind of what this like newer fresher maybe more compact MLR season looks like.
Mm.
Uh, I'm hoping that that fan base can really kind of come together because we don't have enough rugby fans in the US to split across all of these different entities, right? Like we really need to kind of band together for the love of the sport and just like push us into the next couple of years and make sure we're all ready for it.
I hear that, Jess. Very
Yeah.
wise.
It's one of my pet peeves. Everyone's always like, oh, well, we want these fans. We want these fans. I was like, we don't have enough fans yet. Like, that's the exciting part, but let's kind of all be buddies and root together, you know?
Absolutely. I could talk to you forever about this.
Ugh, damn, it's my life. I'm
Forever.
the rugby person, you know?
For people who want to be like you, who are looking up to you, who would love to pick your brain further, you can take this
Yeah.
either way. What advice would you give to someone who's looking to work in rugby? Or what advice would you give to an athlete who's looking to play on a professional team, whether it be men's or women's?
I think the first thought I would say is just do it, you know, not to like copy Nike or anything, but if you're interested in a role, ask, apply, bring it up, show up. And if you want to play, just like try and do it, you know? The second thing is use the resources those around you. I get messages on LinkedIn all the time. I'll get like DMs, just people that are like, hey, just wanted to run this by you, or what are your thoughts, or how did you get this internship? How did you get this role? Do you know someone here? Just reach out to those people because I will always respond and answer those questions. And there's a million other people that will do the same. And I think it's also just kind of back yourself, you know, like if you know what you enjoy and like that's what you want to do, then do it. You know, don't let your friends, family, or anyone tell you any differently that it's not stable, it's not going to pay you enough, it's exhausting. Like, life's too short to do things that we don't really want to do and we don't feel strongly about. So I think it's important to do that which fuels you and fuels your fire. And that's kind of like my thing, you know, like rugby hasn't burnt me yet. And there's been a lot of times that it could have. And that's where I'm just like, you know what, we're just going to grit it out. We're going to keep going because it's given a lot to me and I want to give a lot back. And I want to see that next generation and those people coming in and, you know, what it takes to work hard. So we just got to do it.
Yes.
Not very long.
Um, no, I'm loving it. I want to ask you a couple silly questions as we wrap up. Our
Oh,
time is always so
my favorite.
short. Yes,
Yes.
yes. Okay, so if you were walking down the street on any given day and you went to buy coffee or something and you reached in your pocket and you pulled out, like, what would you find in your pocket? Like, whether it be a jacket pocket or something like that when you're walking around on a day to day that might be surprising
Well,
or
there's usually two pockets in everything, so I'll tell you what's in both of those pockets.
thank you.
And one is either dog poop bags or dog treats. Obviously for obvious reasons, for my canine child laying down at my feet. And the other one is stickers. I have like I had so many Chicago Hound stickers. I had
Mm,
like little Tempest, little Twister stickers. And anytime I would meet someone that they're like, oh, like who are you or what do you do? Or like the, you know, rugby's that buzzword, right? They hear that and they're like, wait, tell me more. You always just kind of give them, I always would give them a little something, or I'd leave it at the coffee shop or wherever it is that I'm going, just because A, people love to get free stuff. And also, it's just kind of like, then it gives them something to remember. They might Google it later, like whatever it is. But, you know, one personal and one kind of personal. Plus, stickers are fun. Like everyone likes to stick things on it. So,
yes. And Jess, last question for you. What is your pump up song?
oh, excellent question. Pitbull, he's my jam. I listen to Pitbull all the time. I'm not embarrassed to admit it. Powerful Woman by Pitbull and Dolly Parton is just an epic collaboration. And then X Gonna Give It to You. Like that really just gets me going. And if that song comes on and you're in front of me, like you better watch out because I'm about to bust a move.
You better
So
watch out. Oh,
yeah.
Jess. Well, I'm so sorry that I have to wrap this up. Thank you so much for jumping on with me. You are fantastic. Let's jump on another one soon. And thank you. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thanks, Lauren.